everyone, to today's webinar. Today is our official public launch and presentation of our cloud device management platform. Super excited about today. This has been 2 years in the works. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Bree Fernie. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Team Clearly, and I will be your presenter for today. And joining me a little later on is Tony Lewis, our Chief Executive Officer. Tony's going to go over all the technical bits and do some live demonstrations. Right now, I have everyone muted, but feel free to post any questions in the webinar control panel. We are also recording this webinar for your review. It will be posted on our social media, on our YouTube channel. I anticipate today's webinar will take around 45 minutes, maybe a bit longer, as it is quite technical. So we're also going to have some Q&A at the end. For those of you who are not familiar with ClearlyIP, I know we have some new people here and quite a large audience. I thought it would be a good idea to do a proper introduction to our company so everyone knows a little bit about ClearlyIP before I dive in to our new cloud device manager. So a quick introduction to ClearlyIP and how we are associated with the FreePBX open source community. We have offices located in Wisconsin, Vancouver, and Montreal, Canada, and staff really located around the globe. Our team consists of telecom experts that are known leaders in the industry, both selling, developing, and pioneering new technologies to the business telecom marketplace. And we support our partner channel in solutions for end users, for small, medium businesses, and enterprise, global companies worldwide that want to take advantage of our unified communication solutions. We truly are a group that is focused on new innovation and building the next generation of telephony. Really, we're a group of technology gurus who specialize in the telecom industry and really aren't afraid to defy convention and hopefully raise a few eyebrows in a good way. Our team has an impressive and unique industry skill set with combined years of experience building some of the largest telecom applications in the world. In our ongoing efforts to bring new technologies to the market, we are pleased to introduce our newest solution, our Cloud Device Manager. When you look at our comprehensive product line, CDM falls into a couple of different places where our customers may interact with it. For example, phone systems that we launch and manage ourselves, it's used in Clearly Cloud today and will make its way into our clients on Business Connect soon after this week's launch. And that's really up to support and when they're ready to start deploying with it, sorry. It is also a component of growing our IP phone business, allowing our customers to deploy CDM with our devices and giving us a standard place to develop our integrations with different platforms. So for example, in the future, we can build functionality on the Cloud Device Manager platform instead of building features directly into a FreePBX device module, making new future solutions potentially support additional platforms. So what we are launching this week is almost more of a standalone solution, enabling clients not using our telephony services or even our IP phones to deploy and manage devices with our cloud device management platform. I have honestly lost count now of all the product launches I've been so fortunate to introduce to the market in launch events like today. As a company, we are truly always trying to provide solutions to our customers that will help them grow, manage, and improve their businesses. Today is an exciting launch event for Team Clearly as we officially bring to market what we believe to be the best cloud-based management tool in our industry for FreePBX and Clearly Cloud. So what exactly is the Cloud Device Manager? CDM is a cloud-based management tool that will allow you to provision, control, and manage your IP phone devices from a single GUI interface that is secure and intuitive to use. Partners for years have been asking for a single pane of glass to manage their devices and endpoints to simplify things. Although our dev team has been working on this solution for the past 2 years, it actually was one of the first things we started working on when the company was founded. It's been years of constant development to get where we are today. And we've been deploying pieces of the platform over the past 2 years. We first launched components of Cloud Device Manager with our IP phones, allowing our line of IP phones to be redirected to a PBX for provisioning. Technically, the redirection service is a component of CDM. Using a platform like FreePBX, a customer or partner can purchase our phones, and once they set up the redirection, they could deploy the phones to their customers without touching the phones. Once they're plugged in, one of our phones, it reaches out to our cloud platform and then redirects to the location it is told to pull down its configuration. Inside this configuration file are the credentials for connecting to the assigned PBX and the button mapping for configuring the device for the end customer. The way it's worked over the past year, in our client's case using FreePBX, the configuration file is generated by the Clearly Device Management module on the PBX itself. So all these pieces, the redirections and automatic configuration are what we call our zero touch configuration. So this past spring, when we launched Clearly Cloud, we deployed more components of our Cloud Device Manager for our clients on that system at the same time. As a result, we enabled the setup and provisioning for a lot of more phone models besides our own, 150 plus. In fact, it also gave the option of having the provisioning be integrated with the end customer's Clearly Cloud extensions. The next improvement we made to the platform was enabling users of FreePBX to use our Cloud Device Manager to provision not only our phones, but also other brands. The configuration files are now generated in our cloud with a connection to the FreePBX location the phone will be connecting to. So instead of utilizing the ClearlyIP Cloud Device Management module to write out configs on the PBX, this connection is integrated with a new module that pulls the FreePBX extensions and credentials into CDM. CDM will then generate the phone configurations securely when it needs to. So this allows us to deploy CDM as a separate standalone solution that partners and end users can purchase to provision their IP phones and devices on their phone systems. Ideally, they would use our phones, but of course, there are millions of IP phones sold globally per year that are not clearly IPs. And for our partners, they can use this secure multi-tenant platform to manage all devices from a single location, no matter what the brand. Eventually, it is possible that we could even generate configurations for other platforms if it makes business sense for us to spend time on that. So ultimately, the goal with CDM and our IP phones is not to lock ourselves into a walled garden with having revenue channels that only support our devices. We think it's a good way to stay involved with the FreePBX ecosystem. So this launch on CDM is geared primarily at partners, resellers, system administrators managing dozens or even hundreds of free PBX deployments. We know that system integrators deploying free PBX are always looking for a better way to deploy and support handsets quickly. Many understand the ROI of having a solid solution for deploying phones. So with that and our SIP trunking, we think we have some excellent products and solution fits for the free PBX space. So EDM enables administrators to standardize their hardware deployments and provision and deploy devices remotely. Admins will not only have to depend on remote access into a free PBX system to make device changes, they will no longer need to depend on that. Resellers can do this from our cloud. As compared to some competitive systems, when used with our free PBX module, CDM does not require replication of PBX data. Since our free PBX CDM module pulls the data into CDM, it's already there for you while you configure the cloud setup. This makes the steps to provision multiple brands of phones really fast, simple, a breeze, really. Since the data is kept up to date, long-term subscriptions from our partners hopefully become something that makes sense for system administrators as they have internal staff changes or new technicians that come on board. They don't have to worry about where the bodies are buried. On a specific PBX instance, things like passwords, configurations, and setup, they're all consistent across all their locations and not just set up the way the technician doing the install would do things. The Cloud Device Manager solves your headaches for more organized system deployments with an improved standardized provisioning method. CDM's CDM lets you manage multiple customer devices from that single interface. Cloud Device Manager allows provisioning of endpoint devices remotely wherever you have an internet connection, and CDM can be used with multiple SIP servers and multiple customers. It allows users to remotely provision customer devices via a powerful, secure, easy to use cloud interface, control multiple SIP servers and multiple customers with a device neutral tool. So CDM was designed and engineered from the beginning with multiple levels of security. First, unlike how, for example, the FreePBX EPM works, where the system writes out a config file for each device that is stored and saved in plain text in flat files in the PBX itself, CDM does real-time provisioning. The configs are generated on demand, and we don't store them. Data is all saved in a secure encrypted database and only pushed to phones and endpoints using a secure SSL encrypted connection. CDM also allows administrators to build multiple device templates, enabling limitless customization for their clients and end users. Templates are then mapped to specific extensions to provide the proper phone model and speed dial buttons. These templates can also be reused to deploy multiple extensions on a single system quickly. For advanced users, we allow administrators to custom define configuration overrides and customizations beyond things that we expose in the management GUI of the template creation and editing forms. Great news, CDM is also a multi-tenant platform. Hooray! Starting at the bottom, we can sell the service in a single location. What we call a tenant end user can add multiple locations that are individually managed. Next layer up is for our resellers. Resellers can have various multiple tenants under them. For example, a bundle of clients, the reseller and the clients can both log in to create a specific tenant location, and the reseller can also create additional tenant locations for other clients. Next is our top layer, which is OEM layer. The OEM layer allows the OEM partner to set up resellers beneath them, meaning they can have resellers that manage their clients and tenants underneath them. So the OEM level can log in, create resellers, create tenants, and so forth. The different levels here don't impact how CDM works. It primarily allows us to target different types of customers and partners. So, for example, a single direct customer would purchase a single tenant location. Still, a system integrator may buy at that reseller level, and then more significant partners with their own reseller base would look at the OEM level. Tony will review what this looks like on our backend systems when we move into the live demo. We've created bundles and packages for each level, which we're going to also overview as well. So we are currently supporting our phones, our ClearlyIP CIP models, and over 150 devices from other manufacturers, including Grandstream, Yealink, Poly, Cisco, Fanville. We even have some Snome decked phones in the works. We have direct relationships with companies like Grandstream, Snome, and Yealink, and you may see some joint marketing efforts coming out soon with these manufacturers. Once the solution is ready for it, we give you one GUI interface that is standardized on, so it provides a consistent interface across all the different device platforms. When we designed CDM, it was designed to enable system integrators to quickly provision and deploy devices using templates that you can define and reuse across multiple locations and customers. CDM can be licensed for a single tenant location, which can include an individual PBX location, and you can add additional PBXs to that location. We have a licensing level for resellers that allow you to create additional tenant locations, which would allow you to enable access for your customers to manage their specific tenant and PBX locations that are assigned to them. We also have that OEM version of the license that allows the creation of resellers. The licenses for each PBX are the same price across all the different license types, OEM, reseller, or single tenant. What makes each license unique is the ability to manage the levels below them. Beyond the license level, CDM has some basic functions that work together to make this the most comprehensive provisioning platform that can actually be deployed in just 4 simple steps. Templates, extensions, extension mapping, and so on. I'm going to define these components for you now, and then Tony will go into lots more detail during the live demonstration. Okay, I'm going to start with PBX locations. I'll define how you purchase a location and pricing subscriptions in a minute, but it'll make more sense if I cover the basics of what things are before I start talking about the pricing. So each PBX location is licensed in CDM with a subscription. And the system allows you to add a CDM location online, and then using the Cloud Device Manager module for FreePBX, you register that PBX to CDM using a key code that automatically licenses your FreePBX system to use the CDM module. Locations are licensed and mapped to CDM tenants. Before you can do anything with that location, you would need to create some templates. You can create an unlimited number of templates, and resellers and OEMs can share those templates across multiple tenants and PBX locations. The templates define things like your general phone settings, backlight timeouts, ringtones, network settings, and so on. Within the template, you also assign specific phone models, and these phone model assignments are where you define what line keys and speed dials will be provisioned on your end customer's devices. Our template is unique because we can actually pull in multiple phone manufacturers in the same template, as well as multiple versions of the same model of phone, which is really slick. For example, you could create a template that has layout configurations and button mapping for a sales team, and maybe a different layout for accounting or customer service roles. Or, for example, in a school setting, you may have templates for classroom phones that may be different than the templates you have for the general office staff. So lots of flexibility there. The template within CDM generally exposes the most common phone settings that are managed or deployed. If you're the type that likes to get under the hood and modify phone settings, you can modify settings we don't expose in the CDM user interface by directly editing these settings under the custom config option in Cloud Device Manager. And just like modifying and creating custom configurations, CDM also gives you the ability to update and deploy different firmware for your devices than versions that we may have tested and deployed on the platform. Once you have your templates ready, it's time to start doing something with them. Extensions from your free PBX instance will automatically sync to CDM, and there's an automated update schedule you can define within the module. You can even manually sync at any time or exclude extensions you don't want or you don't want synced. Having your extension synced to the PBX and your templates created, you can now map the extensions on your PBX to the templates and models that you have created. This mapping can be done online via CDM or directly within the free PBX module. So all of these components may seem complicated, but in reality, CDM provides you a huge return on your investment by breaking down phone provisioning into those 4 easy steps. First, sync your PBX to CDM using the free PBX module. Just a simple pasting of a key code takes care of this step automatically. Second, create a template. The template creation wizard automatically applies the most common setting for devices, allowing you to then add the specific phone models you're deploying and create phone model templates that you can easily modify and clone to have very customized phone setups for every customer with just a few clicks of your mouse. Once ready, step 4, map your extensions to your templates and phone models, and you are ready to put those phones on the desk. And if you're using our ClearlyIP phones, the system will even automatically configure device redirection, so a fresh from factory or factory reset phone will automatically provision wherever you need it to. So let's touch on pricing and how to buy. Today we have 3 different options on CDM that deploy. So the first is customers using our phones with any platform can utilize the device redirection components of CDM for free. That will likely always be the case. There is an incentive to use our phones, and device redirection is something that is expected from IP phone manufacturers today. We also have integrated CDM into our Clearly Cloud PBX platform. There is no charge for this either. Each cloud location will be licensed for a CDM tenant location to be used with deploying our phones as well as phones from other vendors. Outside a simple device redirection or customers on Clearly Cloud, we have created a new subscription license model.
Because FreePBX is deployed by both enterprise and SMB end users, as well as system integrators that use the platform to deploy to their customers, we do have the ability for end users to purchase licenses of CDM directly from us, as well as offering discounted pricing to system integrators and installers of FreePBX that have a direct partner relationship with ClearlyIP. With our solutions, we publish our MSRP pricing. If you're interested in partner pricing, it's easy enough to reach out to our sales team and sign up for our partner program. If you are not already a ClearlyIP partner, you can submit an application to the link I just put in the Q&A section. If you are an end user looking to license and use CDM, you would be purchasing at our MSRP pricing levels. Even at MSRP pricing, we are very competitive with any other IP phone configuration solution you would compare us to. If you explore becoming a partner, I think you will see we are pretty aggressive on our partner pricing, hopefully making it a no-brainer to move to this platform for our new audience with us today. For a direct end user subscription, which is a single tenant with a single PBX location, pricing would be MSRP $95 for a 1-year license. Note, all prices listed here are in US currency. For most system integrators or partners installing FreePBX to their end users, the reseller license, which is the next step up in license options, is a better choice than purchasing single tenant license. The reseller license includes 5 PBX locations, but enables resellers the ability to create additional tenant locations. Within each tenant location, you can create multiple templates for deploying your phones, and you can create users of the tenants that you can enable to access just their location. For system integrators that want to bundle up and deploy multiple tenants, we include 5 locations or tenants in a reseller bundle. MSRP is $475. This provides 5 tenant locations, and additional locations can be added for $95 MSRP. At the OEM level, we bundle in 20 locations, and the MSRP is $1,900. Additional locations can be purchased as add-ons at MSRP $95 per year. We are offering monthly payment options for our reseller and OEM levels. So the reseller monthly plan is a per month cost for 5 locations. The OEM plan monthly would also be offered as an ongoing monthly cost for partners. Additional locations too can be paid on a monthly subscription cost basis. Full details are listed in our updated price book that we can send to you upon request, but I do really think you will see we are very competitively priced on our partner pricing, hopefully making it a very compelling no-brainer choice to move to this solution.
Set up subscription plans and add-on locations in the ClearlyIP store at store.clearlyip.com. And you can also request a quote from your account manager if you're already a customer or by reaching out to the sales team directly. Look, it typically takes 60 to 90 minutes after order placement to have the system provisioned and ready during regular business hours. So we're making the turnaround super quick and convenient. Okay, so just before I hand things over to Tony, I want to just go over the steps quickly that he's going to be reviewing. He is going to start with showing you how to add the location. CDM is designed to work on a per location basis. A location is a customer's unique PBX IP address or fully qualified domain name. Then he's going to show you the next step, which is to build your template, which you can use any unique name. This allows for naming conventions that can reduce confusion and mistakes. Next, you're going to choose your manufacturer and phone model. You will see that you can have multiple templates for the same model and have one template for different models. Lots of flexibility there. And last step is meshing everything together with the mapping. So this will take care of about 90% of everyday needs. An administrator also will have access to custom config, which is helpful with thousands of additional settings. All right, that's enough of me. I'm going to hand things over now to Tony so he can show you all how this works.
So I'm going to kind of show off the backend CDM, and then we'll talk about how it integrates to FreePBX. So in the same UI for any of the customers using ClearlyIP phones, where we manage our redirect server, like every manufacturer has, where you can set up redirects, there's a tab called CDM. That tab gets shown to you once you buy a subscription from us. We activate it, and you'll see the CDM tab. And under CDM, so Cloud Device Manager, under subscriptions, we'll see different subscriptions you might have, because you might have more than one. You might have a reseller subscription, you might have an end user subscription, you might have multiple end user subscriptions. This example here, I have a FreePBX, what would be considered a reseller subscription. It includes 5 locations. I'm using 2 of the locations. I have 3 available. The made up price of $750 to renew, and each add-on $75. So you can kind of see what your subscription usage is and the cost on it and when it expires. So once we have an active subscription, we can go to locations. A location is a unique PBX. And I get asked, well, what's a unique PBX? It's an IP address or fully qualified domain name. So that's how a location is defined as unique. It's a single IP address or domain name that you provide. So we'll notice we have 3 different locations here. One is a Clearly Cloud location, and 2 are FreePBX locations. So adding new locations is pretty simple. We just add a new location. We pick what subscription we're adding it for. So we got 3 available here. We pick what tenant it belongs under. So I'm going to put it under my main tenant. We give it a name. And a description if we want. And then we pick a server type. So we're going to say this is FreePBX. We need to give it the primary localhost. So that's either your fully qualified domain name of where the phones will register to, or an IP address. So we actually allow you to give us 2. We allow you to give us a local and a remote. We require at least a local. So if this was a local premise-based PBX, you might put the local IP address here. And then down in the remote one, you would put in pbx.my, whatever it is, and your either domain name or your IP address. If it happens to be a remote, like a hosted FreePBX that just has an external IP, then you just use the local host and give us the IP or domain name. But we let you define a local and a remote in case you're going to be in a mode where some phones connect to the local IP and some connect to the remote. So for that location, you could optionally set an outbound proxy, which you almost never do in the FreePBX world unless you have an SBC in front of FreePBX. Provisioning protocol is HTTPS for security, and we randomly generate a username and password that all your phones will use to get their provisioning data. You can change this if you don't want to use the auto-generated ones we have. If you had a backup PBX that you wanted to dual register your phones to, this is where you provide the failover IP address. And if you had a failover outbound proxy, same thing. Confirm our information, and we've now added that location. So once the location is added, because it's marked as a free PBX one, if we view that location, you will notice that you get a key code. We're going to take this key code, and we're going to go into our FreePBX-based system, and our wiki documents how to install this module. There's a module called Cloud Device Manager, and once you install it, you go under Settings, Cloud Device Manager. We paste in this key code, and this is going to sync your FreePBX to CDM, and it's going to create a connection to feed CDM all of your extension details for provisioning. So there we go, we're set up. The extension data has been pushed. And real time, if you ever go add new extensions, so as you add extensions to FreePBX, they will automatically get pushed to CDM real time when you hit the apply config button in FreePBX. If you go into FreePBX and modify your codecs, for example, and hit apply config, those codec orders will get pushed into CDM. If you change feature codes for like parking, those will get pushed into CDM for you real time, anytime you make the change. If you ever want to just force a sync of everything, you can just hit the sync manual button and it will sync everything back up. So if we go back to CDM and look in this location, you'll notice, for example, codecs, it's pulled this from FreePBX. So if we go to FreePBX and change our codec settings, it's going to update here. Same with all these feature codes. So everything gets synchronized back and forth. So from here, by default, we exclude all your extensions because we don't want to push SIP secrets till you're ready, until you tell us which ones. So we can come in here and unpick which ones we don't want being synced. So if there's certain extensions you're never going to provision in CDM, you can pick them here and we'll never sync that information. So we'll update our exclusion. We can set our location, that local URL, and same with that remote, we can change it. So this is a fake location I created. And you'll notice if you change stuff here, it'll real time again push it into CDM. So if we look under main, we'll see remote.com for remote and the local IP. So we try to keep all that data synchronized for you. So map templates will show us any templates you have for your tenant in CDM. It'll let you see them. And then settings. So as you make changes in FreePBX, we real-time push them to CDM. But if you go to CDM and change stuff like add new templates or change the mapping, CDM doesn't have a way of telling FreePBX that there's been changes made. We don't have a tunnel into your system. So we do that through a sync interval. So by default, it syncs every hour and says, hey, what's new in CDM that I should know about? Or you can set it to be even lower if you want. So you can set it to every 5 minutes, and it will sync its data every 5 minutes. What we're showing you in the module here is really just visual. It's to show you stuff from CDM. There's some things we can do in here to manage provisioning, but most of the provisioning is done through CDM. The one exception to that is mappings. So once you have your templates, and we're going to go look at a template now in CDM. So if we go to templates, and we go look at this template I have already here, you'll notice you get some, name, what tenant it belongs to, description. You get some general settings, regional settings like time zones and languages. The big thing is models. This is where you start adding your models. So if we go add a new model, we pick a model from the drop down. So you'll see Astra, Cisco, ClearlyIP, Digium, Fanville, Grandstream, Mitel, Polycom, and Yealink. So we'll go pick a ClearlyIP 250. Pick our firmware, give it a name. We hit next. We can get some settings related to this phone. With our phones, we have these long and short press feature code concepts, so you can set those here if you want. Then we get into our line keys. So we can say button 1 is going to be a line key for my extension. Button 2 will be line. Button 3 might be BLF to extension 1001 and the value of 1001, or maybe we want to put mic here instead of 1001. What's kind of neat is if you click on a button over here in the little image, like 6, it'll highlight 6 down here in orange for you, and you can then go set that button to be whatever you want. If you hit next page, you'll get the next page of buttons, so 8 through 14. So once you set up your buttons, then you can set your horizontal buttons for all the different ring states. So like on a call fail, what are your 4 horizontal buttons? On a transfer dial. So we default these, but if you want to override them, you can. And we save the model. And now you've got that model added. And you can keep adding models. You'll notice I've got 250 added twice because I have different layouts. So you can just keep adding models over and over again to this template. And then if we go look under extensions, we'll see all my extensions from FreePBX were synced in for me because I told it to. So I don't have to recreate these extensions by providing the SIP username, password, and name of the extension and everything else. They'll get pulled over. You'll notice these are synced from FreePBX. The source is FreePBX, meaning they were pulled in automatically. Devices 10 in FreePBX is the PJ SIP contacts, how many unique devices are allowed to register the same extension, so we sync that in. If you want to add a manual extension, you're more than welcome to. So you pick a location, name, number, secret, what device, how many devices it supports, and a description, so you can manually add extensions. So once you have your extensions, then we actually do the magic of mapping. So I'm going to go get this MAC address. And we can map from CDM, or we can map from FreePBX. So if we go under mappings in the module, add a new mapping, pick the extension, what template, what device this is, account 1, and device number 1 on that account, the MAC address, and it's UDP for transport and media. And we want to use the local IP instead of the remote. So this is where you pick each extension to use the local IP or the remote IP for the location. And we hit save. And what happens is, this now shows you the mapping, but if we go look in CDM, the mapping's here too. Because all the provisioning is actually in CDM. FreePBX doesn't do any provisioning. CDM, the cloud-based system, is doing all of your provisioning. So we're just giving you a nice visual way to see that provisioning, that mapping in FreePBX. So now we just point our phone to the PBX, and what's neat is because it's a ClearlyIP phone we're doing, we auto set up the redirect for that phone because you're using CDM. So if you were to factory set the phone will hit our redirect server and it'll say, oh, you're using CDM, and it will point the phone to CDM and go grab its config. You don't literally have to touch anything on the phone. It's all automatic just by setting up a mapping. A couple other things. So in FreePBX under extensions, we also hook in to show you all the devices you're mapped to. So if we go look at extension 1000, there's a tab called Cloud Device Manager. And here you can see all your mappings. And this isn't the one I'm using, but normally it'd show it. And then you can exclude even if you want to exclude this extension, just like you can from CDM itself. You can add it to exclude. You can also do it in the extension. And then the other thing is in user management of FreePBX. If we go look at our user 1000, under the UCP, the user control panel for FreePBX, there's a CDM tab, and you can actually allow it. By default, it will inherit permissions to manage their own button layouts as overrides. So by default, the user gets all the button layouts from the template, but a user now can log into UCP by default, and you can take those permissions away. And under CDM, their widget will be here with their devices, and it'll show them what their button layouts are, and they can override buttons from the template if they want. So if they wanted to add their own button here, it'll show red, and that will be an override now. And in CDM, you can also see overrides. So if we'll do it from CDM, but if I save this here, it'll tell CDM about the override, but you as an admin can come into CDM under the mappings, and you can view and even add your own overrides over the template. So we'll do a real one here. We'll say speed dial 1002. So the template is line, 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 do not disturb, BLF, BLF. We've added an override of the speed dial. And now you'll notice you can edit that and change those overrides, or you can hit the delete button here and it will remove all the overrides and set it back to the template defaults. So again, those overrides you do here will show up in UCP for the user. So if we do, we'll add it back again. So by default, this data from CDM syncs every 5 minutes to FreePBX, or we can force a sync real time by hitting under info, sync now. So now if we go to back to UCP, you'll see that speed dial is there. And only this user sees speed dial. Anyone else who's using this template won't see button 7 as a speed dial. So we just did a nice little override. So back in CDM, I'm logged in at an OEM level. Because I'm logged in at OEM level, I can see all my resellers and I can see all my tenants. So if we go look at extensions, you'll see all these extensions are here and they belong to this location. So if I drill into a reseller of test, you'll see I don't see those anymore because I'm drilling into specific tenant accounts. So I'm changing my filters because I'm an OEM, I get to see everything. So as an OEM, you can add tenants really easily. There's no charge for tenants. Again, the only charge is for locations. So as a OEM customer, you can add your own resellers underneath you, and then those resellers have their own logins. And then you can add tenants to those resellers. Or if you buy our reseller subscription instead of our OEM subscription, that allows you to add tenants underneath you and users to those tenants, but you can't add resellers. You're the only reseller. So to add resellers, you just come to resellers and you add a new account. Name, description is all we need. To add a new tenant, same thing. Name, or you have to tell what reseller it's for, then name and description. Once you have more tenants added, you can come into CDM users, and you can start adding users now. So because I'm picking a tenant level, and I pick what tenant it's for, give a first name, last name, their email address, and hit save. If this email address is already used as a login to CDM, it's just going to add this as another tenant for them under their account. So a single CDM user might have multiple tenants that they've been given authorization to manage, or multiple reseller accounts even. That login will give them access to all of them. If that email address isn't set up with a login on our system yet, it will then send them an email saying, hey, we've created this account for you, click this link to reset your password. If the email address already has a login to our systems, the email will say, we just activated your login under this tenant so that you can now see this tenant also. And again, that same login user and user tenant, they might even have been authorized from another reseller. You know, let's say we're ABC company and they hired a reseller in California for one system and a different reseller in Tennessee. And the reseller in Tennessee adds them as a tenant and the reseller in California adds them as a tenant. When they go to add that user, put the email address in. If it's used already, it's just going to add that as another tenant for that user. Okay, so I think I've talked a lot here. The last thing I want to hit on is custom configs. So we exposed quite a few things, the most common things that you would do in the GUI for a phone. But if you need to get into advanced stuff, you can come into custom configs and you pick what model based on all the models you have set up. So we'll pick this 270 and you get a full text editor built right in here with colors coding for everything. And if you want to change, for example, profile 1 VAD from 0 to 3, you can just change it. Or you can just add a new line. So you get full access into the backend config file system that will affect all the mappings that are using this model. And you can just save those changes. So you just edit, make whatever changes you want, and then hit Save Custom Config. Okay, so we will open it up for Q&A now. So let me go see what we got here. So over on your screen, there's a Q&A section. Feel free to ask away at questions. Can the templates be nested, i.e., can I institute cross-tenant settings such as different SIP ports, transport methods? The templates have nothing to do with SIP ports and transport methods. Those are done at the mapping level. That's the beauty here. So your template's agnostic to that. When you do a mapping, inside the mapping, you're telling us transports and things. So if we go look at a mapping here, in depth, right here, this is what you're telling us what port. So it knows what location to go to because it's linked to a location. Let's go back one step. The first thing you do when you set up a mapping is you pick the location. And then in here, you tell it what extension, what SIP port, and it will default to the location one, what transport, what media type, and by default, it's going to use the local IP address you put in the location, but if you want to use the remote IP, you check this box. Now, if this same device, because remember, this is the MAC address for that device, if it has multiple extensions registering to it, you just hit the little plus here, and you say registration 2 is extension 1001. And maybe that's remote too. So you can add multiple extensions to the same device. So yes, templates are agnostic to the transport and ports. Is support of gigaset handsets on the timeline. So we haven't had any requests for it yet. Of course, we can add any makes and models. Right now, we're working on SNOM. We're getting pretty close. SNOM will be coming out pretty soon, the SNOM VTech line of stuff. But, you know, contact sales, you know, we're always looking to add devices that are going to help grow sales. So, could it be possible to zero-touch provisioning for other phone brands such as Grandstream? It's something we're going to look at. It's not going to be till next quarter before we can even look at it. It's on our roadmap of things we could go do. It's going to take working with those manufacturers to give us APIs and then figure out some way of how you would authenticate that API based on what tokens or whatever they have and some place to put that information in. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. It's definitely doable. Is there a full list of supported make models and what can be done if we need a specific model added that may not be on the list? So if there's not a make model on the list, you would contact sales and they can find out with engineering where it's on the timeline. As far as what we have, yes. So our knowledge base for all of our products, kb.clearlyip.com. We have full documentation of ClearlyIP's Cloud Device Manager. And you'll see we document the subscriptions and how those work. There's the OEM admin guide. There's a reseller admin guide. There's a tenant admin guide that goes through every step of what you can do. And then there's CDM supported devices, which is linking right here to a simple Google page, a Google Sheet page. We're starting to work to figure out background images to be able to support background images. So we're starting to document the sizes. But this is a list of all the makes and models of what we support today. So there's 166 of them listed here today. So again, that's in our knowledge base. There's documentation on how to use the module and install it for FreePBX. And even documentation on how to point different brands of phones to CDM for provisioning. So we've tried to document most things. Any other questions? Is there an API for quick deployment? There is a backend API. We haven't exposed it yet. Talk with sales on it. Our whole front end is all talking APIs to our backend. So we're utilizing APIs every day for everything we do already. We just haven't done any work to expose like how you would connect to it with a token and security that we have to think through. But the whole design of it is API driven. Are there any features that'll be added like monitoring extensions if they're offline registered? So yes, we'll be looking at that. You know, the problem with that is it's 100% PBX specific. The device itself has no way of telling CDM it's not registered. The manufacturers really don't have anything built in the phone, and we have no way to reach into the phone and find that out, right, from a security standpoint. So it'd be the PBX having to tell us that, and that's where things like the nice module we have in FreePBX can actually start feeding us information such as that. So those are definitely things on our roadmap to look at. So will CDM have faster turnaround in adding new devices than things like EPM and Sangoma? Absolutely. So because we're a subscription model, right, we have to keep winning your business for renewal. So we can't drag our feet on adding new makes and models. We're not making manufacturers pay us or license with us to add their makes and models. We're adding based on demand from our customers and what they're asking for. So, you know, we have a vested interest to provide what you need to keep your subscription with us. Will this be bundled with PBExec like Endpoint Manager? No. I mean, PBExec's not a product with anything to do with ClearlyIP. That's a Sangoma product. So you can use it with PBExec. You can install our module on PBExec and use CDM, but it could never come licensed or bundled with it. No. You know, one of the things I really want to hit on is the whole design of CDM is to keep you from having open ports on your firewall for phones to be able to configure, which is completely insecure, when you can avoid it. You're now pumping holes directly to your PBX for provisioning, and if there's any vulnerabilities in a patch or anything along that way, they've got full access to your PBX now. The idea of keeping this all in the cloud is you're not opening up stuff to your corporate network to get provisioning data. So in the event there is a vulnerability somewhere, they're not getting to your PBX like they can when you're provisioning directly on your PBX. The other big thing is all the communications SSL with the phones. So the phones talk SSL to us, and of course everything's username password authenticated on top of that. And everything we do, we don't store any config files in our cloud system. We are literally generating the config file on demand once the phone passes authentication with us. Okay, well, I think that's it for questions, Bree.
Okay, I'm going to take over screen sharing again, Tony, just to take everyone through a few resources in connection with the webinar. So in connection with the go live today, we've got several resources everybody should check out. We've got our new webpage, all on Cloud Device Manager, and that's at ClearlyIP/CDM or under the menu, the products menu. So you can definitely check out our new webpage. And in there is also the product brochure. Another great way to stay up to date on things is follow us on social media. We have a fun blog written by yours truly that really feels the pain of running a business prior to having a tool like CDM. So definitely check that out for a fun light read. We have an official statement press release has been issued to give information on this particular subject matter, and for the formal announcement directed for public release, also a great source of information. You can find that on our website under press release. Two more things I want to mention. We have another FreePBX training class coming up in November, on November 8th. That's going to be happening in Appleton. Tony will be there. And, this is just back again due to popular demand. So a great class for partners as well as administrators maintaining a FreePBX instance for their company. I'm sure we'll be touching on our CDM solution as well. And if you want to join Tony and I again this week in a couple of days, we're doing another webinar on Thursday, an in-depth look at our rebrandable, customizable IP desk phone solutions that offer feature-rich, direct from manufacturer, zero-touch, deployable, low minimum order, high margin, custom branded IP phones for your business, increasing your brand visibility. So a great tool for your business and a way to enable you to stand out from your competitors. So that's this Thursday. And I just want to thank everyone so much for your time and participation. I know this was a long one today, but we really wanted to touch on all things technical and answer all your questions. Again, a recording of today's webinar will be posted on our YouTube channel, most likely by the end of the week. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.